This right here is the Honor Magic 7 Lite. Now this phone is going to be known for two things, functionality and durability, of which it ticks both those boxes. So no high-end performance processor or incredible camera systems on the rear, although they are pretty decent, but we'll get to that later. Let's talk about functionality. 6,600 milliamp hour battery, and in testing, this on DxOMark is the #1 ranked phone in the world when it comes to performance testing, when it comes to battery life, which is sick. And then durability. There's a lot you can do with this phone, and it won't get scratched, it won't get damaged, and we're going to show you some of those tests in a second. But first of all, let's talk about the unboxing experience of the Honor Magic 7 Lite. It costs around about £400, and in the box here in the UK at least, you don't get a plug. What you do get is the phone, essentially in this silvery grey colour with the gold trim, kind of nice. You can get it in a purple as well. You get the cable, a SIM ejector pin and some manuals. That's it. However, if you were to buy it as of watching this video and probably a little bit longer, you will get a free charger in the box that will support the 66 watts of wireless, 66 watts of wired charging, no wireless charging here unfortunately. And then let's do a quick design overview. Essentially what you get here is a big ring around the dual cameras on the rear with the flashlight as well, of course, and then a rounded, very rounded corner, sort of OG Samsung Note 10 vibes going on here with how round it is on the front. Flat top, flat bottom, rounded edges. The design, the fit, the feel, the finish feels really, really good. Very sturdy, very well built in the hands. Now, we referred to earlier about durability. Let's run through some tests to show you just how durable the Honor Magic 7 Lite is in real world scenarios. So we got 3 total tests here. One, in fact, we're going to show you right now. And this is the screen fully lit up, and essentially it's down to pressure. So if I did this, nothing actually happens to the screen. That's a pretty big knock. And then you got 2 other tests just to show you around durability. Now the front of the phone does have a screen protector on. So for these tests, we are going to take the screen protector off, but you can leave it on if you wanted to test the front and rear. The second one we're going to show you is actually to do with keys. So this is commonly tested because a lot of people will leave keys in their pockets when they have their phone in, or it's in their bag, etc. And this just shows you a quick scratch test on the front and the rear to show you that actually it will not mark with keys. If you use a lot of force, and I mean a lot of force, it will scratch. Of course it will. That's a given with any sort of tech when it will scratch. And then lastly, we wanted to show you in terms of its ingress protection, that you could actually drop this in boiling hot steaming water for a short while, pull it out, and still use it without any problems at all. And that's because that's one of the main things with the Honor Magic 7 Lite is its durability, not only in real world situations, but also extreme situations such as boiling hot water. It does have SGS drop detection as well. So if you were to drop this from over 2 meters, about 2.2 meters roughly, it will still survive. And there's tons of tests on that as well. We're not gonna test that, primarily because we wanted to focus our tests in real world scenarios, and dropping does happen, but from a 2.2 meter height, not all that likely. Now, that's the durability side of it ticked off, and we've touched on battery as well, but let's look at performance of the Honor Magic 7 Lite. Now, when it comes to performance, let's talk about the rear, the cameras. We'll get to OS and the other bits later. So 108 megapixel main lens with an 8 megapixel ultra wide. Thank God there is actually no unnecessary macro lens here. You can trigger macro lens and macro mode through the camera's software on the 108 megapixel, which is great. Overall, the camera performance on this Honor Magic 7 Lite is actually pretty good, and we're seeing good improvements in dual sensor phones. So the Poco X7 Pro that we reviewed had 2 really good camera sensors on the back and produced some really good results on the face of it, and the Honor Magic 7 Lite does the exact same scenario. Again, if you're zooming into a lot of these photos, you are going to get a good amount of rich detail. I actually like the basic natural color tone on Honor's software when it comes to the AI image processing. It's actually really, really good and actually looks more real to life and not overly contrasty bright like we have experienced in the past. But overall, the experience of the phone and the photos, are very, very good. You get really good quality. Again, if you're zooming in, you are going to get some noise, you're going to lose some detail. If you go into ultra wide, you do get a little bit of vignetting on the corners as well. Tiny amount, not enough to ruin the experience, but a tiny amount. If we move across to night photos, again, it will blow out darker areas, so you'll get a slightly brighter photo than you normally would have if you were to see it with your normal eye. And again, if you're looking at flagships, they don't necessarily do this. They manage those darker areas much better. Video 4K 30 on the rear, 1080p on the front as well. So for video quality, again, is very, very good. And again, we mentioned this at the start of this video, performance in terms of bleeding edge tech is not going to be on the Magic 7 Lite, because that's not what it's for. It's all about functionality and battery life, of course, alongside the durability. Now, in terms of the functionality, let's touch on Honor's OS and Android 14 on the Magic 7 Lite. So OS on the Honor Magic 7 Lite. Now, this is one of the downsides of this particular phone, and that is comes with Honor OS 8 and Android 14 out of the box. So both of those are actually a generation behind things like the Magic 7 Pro, which is sort of understandable, but also disappointing, because you know what's going to happen next is when they promise OS updates in the future, they're going to lose one almost immediately. So if this has a 3-year life cycle, then you'll almost immediately lose one, because you'll get Android 15 pretty soon on the Magic 7 Lite, which is good with Honor OS 9. Here and or there, to most people, it probably won't matter. Anyway, let's talk about OS performance. It runs on a Snapdragon 6 Gen 1, which is actually the same processor again as last year. Slightly tweaked, slightly changed. It does run really, really well. 120 Hz panel. Magic OS 8 has tons of really, really great features, loads of customization options, and actually it runs very, very well and performs very well. So if you're browsing the web, scrolling through articles, etc., zooming in and out of photos, all that looks really, really good and runs really well on this phone. There is no real major letdown in terms of software performance. If we move away from software to gaming, now gaming wise, a couple examples coming up here. We're going to show you. You can't download Call of Duty Warzone as sort of like an extreme test to see how much you could push this actual phone, because it isn't actually compatible. It won't even show up in the Play Store to download, which is a bit mental. But what we have here is some examples of sort of more casual games that you will play that will just be a quick pastime, and they perform reasonably well and they're really, really good. Again, Call of Duty Mobile, we haven't tested, we have used and played, runs really, really well. And overall, the gaming experience alongside the OS experience is really good. Two things we want to touch on. RAM is 8 gig, and the storage that we got on this is 512 gigabytes as well. There's no deviation from that. You can't get 12 gig, 16 gig, it's 8. 256, 8, 512 is the only options you get on the Magic 7 Lite. So where does that leave us overall in terms of how we feel about this particular phone? So where does that leave us with our thoughts on the Magic 7 Lite? Essentially, we've covered some of the downsides, Android 14, OS 8 with regards to the software performance, no wireless charging, and then you get no plug in the box, and then you get IP64 dust and water resistance, although it has more protection for things like heat management, which we've shown you. Those are some of the downsides. Also, I would say the price tag is probably a bit of an issue. $399 for the Honor Magic 7 Lite, on the face of it, is a good price. But if you do a comparative to a Redmi Note 14 Pro or the Poco X7 Pro, then the price looks a bit too much. It's about £100-ish more, and like for like, the specs aren't that different. And in fact, the Poco X7 Pro will have longer software support, and I feel performs definitely better overall in terms of things like gaming and general OS performance as well. Overall though, if you're in the market for a phone that has great durability, a really good quality screen, which we'll quickly show you a quick demo here of how the output is in terms of its video quality on the 120 Hz AMOLED panel, it looks really, really good, and the design, fit and feel and finish is excellent as well, then I would say this could well be the phone for you. If you're looking for the best phone for around about £400, I would save 100, get an X7 Pro. But for everything else, if you want something that's durable, that will last you with insane battery life, this well could be the phone for you. And that's our review of the Honor Magic 7 Lite. But before we go, a quick ask. What are your thoughts on the 7 Lite? Is this something you would buy or would you avoid? Do you think we're right in saying something like the X7 Pro is a better overall buy? Let us know in the comment section, and while you're there, chuck us a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. Until the next one, we out.